Does the HeyGears RS system make resin printing so easy that even a beginner like me can do it? Let's find out on this episode of Toy Train Tips and Tricks. Hello again, this is Mike, and I'm stepping over to the workbench today to test out a new tool for the layout. Actually, it's a new work system, the HeyGears Ultimaker RS Resin Printing System. So why do I call it a system and not a printer? Because the HeyGears system is a complete ecosystem from software to printer to resin to finished product that is designed to take all of the mystery and guesswork out of 3D printing and to just make great models time after time. As regular viewers know, I love my traditional FDM type printer. You know, that's the one with the filament and the spools and such. And I use it all the time to make models for the training layout, to make replacement parts, and to come up with creative solutions to everyday problems around the house. So why would I need a resin printer? Well, that's kind of like saying my hammer works great. What would I need a drill for? While FDM printers and resin printers are similar tools in concept, that you design a computer-generated model and create a physical model out of it, each system has its own unique strengths. And there are some things that an FDM printer just can't do, including making ultra-fine details, the kind that we like in our scale models. But that is where the resin printer system excels. But you say resin printing is complicated. You have to calculate layer height and exposure times and resin properties and curing times and model supports, and even temperature and humidity can impact the success or failure of prints. Well, the HeyGears system is designed to eliminate all of that guesswork. The system calculates all of the variables so that you don't have to. While HeyGears is relatively new to the consumer market, the company has a long history and a well-established reputation of making products for the commercial market, particularly medical and dental products. If you've been to the dentist lately and you've gotten a denture, a bridge, a crown, there's pretty good odds that a HeyGears machine had some part in the process. Dentists and dental labs don't want to fiddle with printer settings and resin properties. They simply want to load a model, hit print, and let the machine do its thing. And HeyGears has now brought this workflow simplicity and reliability to the consumer market with the Ultimaker RS system, the printer, wash station, and curing station, all integrated together into a single workflow. Enough of the background, let's get into it. In order to prove that someone like me, who has never, ever done any resin printing before, can make great models, HeyGears has kindly provided this system so that I can demonstrate to you that it can be done. Setting up the printer is easy. After unboxing and removing the large foam packing pieces, plug in the printer and turn it on, and the machine will walk you through the complete setup process, even leveling the machine on your workbench. The machine knows when it is and is not level, and we even tell you which knobs to turn in which direction to make the necessary adjustments to the 3 adjustable feet. Just let the machine guide you through the setup process, and you'll be fine. The RS printer will ask to join your Wi-Fi network. This is not absolutely necessary, and you can load models using a USB drive, but the wireless option makes things very convenient, especially software upgrades, which HeyGears seems to be doing on a pretty consistent basis to make their system even better. HeyGears tech support was very helpful and found solutions for my problems, and they can be contacted directly in the app. No waiting on hold for hours on some 1-800 number. Resins work best in a specific temperature range, and my basement in the Midwest can get a wee bit chilly in the winter. And that's where this additional accessory comes in, the pulsing release resin tank. Now this could be used in conjunction with the HeyGears pulsing release module, but the other thing that it can do is it is a heated resin tank, so that the resin is preheated and maintained at the perfect printing temperature. Setting up the heated vat is easy. Simply add a few plug-and-play wire connections and attach 2 screws. The RS printer does the rest. Before I add the resin, I need something to print, so I downloaded the free Blueprint Studio software. This is HeyGears' dedicated slicer program. It changes a 3D model into instructions that the printer can make. To start your project, you first select your machine and your resin type, and whether you want to print at 30 microns per layer for high resolution or 50 microns for a little bit more speed and slightly less detail. Then import your model into the software. There are some individual controls for orientation, support, and so on, but I find the one-touch slicing works great. Let HeyGears do the work for you. When it's finished, you can send it to the cloud and then to your printer, and after setting them up, your wash station and your cure station as well. With the model in my machine, it's time to add the resin. Then the RS runs a few quick tests to check for problems before the print begins, like performing an automatic print bed level and checking the vat for foreign objects and debris, which can ruin your models and even break your printer if it's too severe. And remember, your RS printer runs these tests automatically, so you don't have to do them yourself. If there is a problem, the RS will tell you what's wrong and how to fix it. No guesswork required. Once the printer is sure everything is okay, the print begins, and you can measure progress in real time on the LCD screen, on the Blueprint software on your desktop, or even from the Blueprint Go mobile app. When the print is finished, your models are not. It's time for washing and curing. These resins are skin irritants, and some may even be caustic. Wear nitrile gloves and eye protection, and maybe even a ventilator mask for this next part. I prepare the wash station first. Remove the lid from one of the 2 wash station bins. Also, check to be sure that the valve on the bottom is closed. Using a scraper, carefully remove your model and its supports from the build plate. Be sure to work slowly and do not scratch the build plate, which is more difficult on the HeyGears printer because it is steel, unlike the scratchable aluminum found on many competitor machines. When your model is free, place it on the bottom of the wash bin, support side down. Then add some IPA, that's 90% or higher isopropyl alcohol, until the model is about 70% covered. Close the bin lid securely and place it on the wash stand. If you've sent the digital model to the wash station, find it in the menu and press Start. No guessing about how long or how fast to wash your models. The next part is absolute genius. Place the bin with your models on top of the empty wash bin after setting the top air valve of both bins to open. With the model bin on top, open the bottom valve of this bin and the dirty IPA flows into the bottom bin. And since the IPA can be used several times before discarding, your next wash cycle is ready to go. Simply close the top valve and set this bin aside for next time. Now, still wearing your gloves and eye protection, remove your models from the wash bin and gently remove any supports. I have a trash bin handy to drop the scrap parts into. Clean off any visible stray parts and, if necessary, clean up any support divots with an X-Acto knife. Then set the models aside and let any residual IPA dry off. Then place each model into the cure station. If you uploaded the model to the station, simply find it in the menu, close the door, and press Start. No guessing about over-curing or under-curing. The cure station also has a heat-only mode, so if you paint your models, you can bake on the finish later. When the models are cured, they are safe to handle without gloves. Here are a few calibration models that I printed to show off the details. Look at these miniature details. A regular FDM printer cannot do that. And here are some assorted model railroad details I printed. The Corvette even has the mirrors. And yes, I broke one of them off being careless. All of these were free models that I found on Thingiverse, Yegi, and other free sites, the same places where you can find models for a regular FDM printer. And look, Ma, no layer lines. As you can see, the HeyGears RS system is great for making all kinds of models, structures, people, detail parts, and even replacement parts all around your model railroad, and all with fine detail and none of those telltale layer lines that are so common on FDM printed models. And the HeyGears Ultimaker system, the RS, includes everything that you need for the entire workflow, from the Blueprint Studio slicer to the resins themselves to even the bottles that the resins come in. This bottle is unique to the HeyGears ecosystem, and in addition to its unusual shape, it also includes this special valve at the top of the bottle so that when the resin is loaded into the printer, and it only goes in one way here in the back, like so, it drops in, releases the valve, and fills automatically to the proper level and keeps it filled there as long as there is resin in the bottle. The bottle also contains an RFID tag that the RS can read and knows whether you have loaded the right type of resin to match your bottle, and can also keep track of how much resin is left in your bottle so that you don't run out in the middle of a print. Best of all, you don't have to pour the resin into the tank by hand, exposing you to more possible drips and slips and exposure. This is as neat and tidy as it comes. Unscrew the lid, drop it in. You don't have to have any contact at all with the resin while it's filling. While most HeyGears resins are available in this bottle type, there are a few that come in a more traditional bottle that you do pour in from the front. These are more economy type resins for everyday modeling and those who just want to save a few dollars. These are still high quality resins, but they don't have those advanced features and specialty features that some of the other resins have. How do you know one resin from another? Well, this one is the PAS10, S for standard. This is standard everyday resin. This is PAP10, P-A-P, P meaning production. These are for more detailed models, higher end production. This is PAWR10, the WR standing for wear resistant. This is for objects that are going to be touched a lot, such as game pieces, handles, buttons, things that you're going to be touching a lot and you still want to have a good solid finish for. There are also a wide variety of other HeyGears resins meant for everything from high impact to high heat to one that I think is really exciting, the new water cleanup resins. While I haven't had the opportunity to test the water cleanup version, the prospect of not having to deal with lots and lots of stinky and pricey IPA as part of my workflow is very exciting. So let's talk for a moment about resin safety. We've already mentioned that you should wear gloves, eye protection, and possibly even respirators while working with the resins in your printer. Now, while there are many different formulations of resins, one thing that's true about all of them is that they emit VOCs. These are volatile organic compounds. That's the stuff that smells, and some of them smell worse than others. It is believed at this time that none of these resin formulas contain stuff that is particularly toxic, but we also once thought things like asbestos and heroin and DDT were harmless also. We don't know for sure what long-term exposure to these VOCs would be. So one thing that you should consider with your resin printer setup is the location. If you are set up in an outside shed or detached garage, maybe ventilation isn't such an issue for you. In my case, I'm in the basement of my house with living space above, and so even if it's not toxic, the smell can be an annoyance to the other people living in the home. So what do I do to properly ventilate? In between takes, I have been covering this with a plastic bag, and I have it hooked up to a dryer vent system with a fan that is pushing the fumes out. I'm doing this for the sake of the video so that you can see the printer better. I can remove this in between takes and do close-ups of the printer and its setup. When the video is finished, I will be installing an enclosure much like this one, a permanent enclosure around the printer, and making this more of a permanent ventilation system to continuously keep all of the fumes out of the work area and out of the house. Another option is the HeyGears Green Print Air Purification System, which is a desktop unit that sits near the printer. It breaks down VOCs in the room and has been tested to remove up to 92% of TVOCs in a space within 25 minutes. This may be an even better solution than mine, but I don't have an example for testing. So yes, HeyGears has created a resin printing ecosystem that is so easy to use that even a resin printing novice like myself can create highly detailed, functional, and great-looking models without having to learn the technical jargon and mumbo-jumbo of resin printing. And from the very first print, I just choose my models, follow the step-by-step instructions in the software and on the touchscreens of the machines themselves, let the machines do the work, and the models just come out perfect. The RS system just creates beautiful models time after time. So all in all, I would say that if you have a medium to large size model railroad in any scale, or if you're a fine detail type modeler, I highly recommend the HeyGears system. You could make an almost unlimited variety of people, vehicles, structures, rolling stock, and all far cheaper than what you can find them for on the commercial market, if you can find them on the commercial market at all. And the detail is far superior to what you can make with a regular FDM type printer. And of course, you get the fun of making your own models and making your model railroad unique and having stuff that isn't commercially available. And in the process, you don't have to make resin printing your new hobby. You don't need to know about exposure times and layer heights and support structures and curing times and all of those other variables that go into the resin printing system. HeyGears does it all for you. All you have to do is select your models and make great ones time after time. And that gives you time to enjoy your model railroad and to keep your trains running. So keep the trains running, and we'll catch you next time with more toy train tips and tricks.